Hello, and welcome to Season 4 of Super Prose Bros. I'm Player 1, Ike, and with me, as always, is...
Player 2, Eli, and Marco Brolo. This podcast is on YouTube, SoundCloud, and Spotify.
I did not, Brobafett! Are those the same places they could...
Like,
comment,
share,
and subscribe?
It certainly is. The amount of wind-up you did for the spit take is A, unjustified, but B, the fact that you gave the contended, like, you can't do both.
And yet I just did, he said, pulling on his imaginary suspenders. Speaking of just did, what did you just do for the last 2 weeks that we have not been recording?
So I have been mostly just kind of taking it easy. I've been
perhaps a little sleazy.
Oh, I did have. Okay, hang on. So I did have a really funny conversation. All right, because I don't think I ever talked about it. I think it's because it was last weekend. I think it sounds right. Yeah, it would have been last Friday. So I met up with a friend because we haven't talked in a while, and so Sean and Nicole and everybody are like, "Oh, you're going out on a date?" I'm like, "No, stop." And they're like, "No, the fucking train had left the station." They insisted that clearly I was gonna go get some, and I'm like, "No, guys, like, stop. I'm seeing Eli tomorrow. Then that'll be happening, but not tonight." Like, sure.
Yeah.
God, fuck you guys. Okay, whatever. Go out, like, grab sushi, good time. Come home, and like hop on to Discord with people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how was the date? And so Liz was on now, and she's like, "Oh, Eli's getting freaky." And I'm like, "God damn it, I have to rehash this." And she's like, No, I know what you're about. Apparently, so, and Sean is fucking chiming in as he's wont to do. And so Nicole is apparently in their basement, like, and she has a headache, so she's laying down like on the couch. And here's what Sean's talking about and sits up. She's like, "Wait, was Eli having sex and lied to us?" She's like, "God damn it. It's a weird amount of investment from you people."
Oh, they care about you.
Yeah, I guess.
And how wet your dick is.
Yeah, I suppose. Fucking perverts.
Elisha, is your cock lubed? It'd be awesome if they started, like, almost said emailing you condoms. So they started, like, giving you.
So, what efficacy? Yeah, virtual condoms aren't doing it for me.
Okay, since we're here, that just totally reminded me of the thing from Archer, where he's like looking to take a pregnancy test. Oh, online. Yeah, I can't wait. It's fucking Cheryl, you dumb bitch. All right, I've derailed this enough. Continue, please.
Anyway, yeah, I would say otherwise I've been say going to work. Ooh, riveting. Being annoyed by engineers because I have to do more of this fuel tank debacle shenanigans. So I've actually been decently busy last like week and a half.
Whee!
Yeah. League has started up again for like pro circuits, which I like because I'm a fucking huge nerd. And I wish that fucking teams didn't just hard int, but whatever.
What are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do? And I got to hang out with other Eli yesterday, which was very nice, very pleasant. And despite my cats not appreciating being cut off from us, we were trying to sleep. So I watched a show recently that isn't my recommendation this week, but I will recommend it in the future.
Mysterious.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just fucking disband it off. It's by the same people that made, or by at least some of the same people who made Scavenger's Reign. It's called Common Side Effects.
Huh. I haven't heard of this
It's
one.
the art style is a little janky. Like it doesn't look like
Oh, yeah. Okay, I've seen the trailer for this. Yeah.
Don't be fooled by the fucking art style. The show's actually really good.
It's also on Adult Swim, so I think it looks like it's going to be something a bit different.
It's very different.
Yeah.
But it does.
But I meant like in like tone.
Oh yeah. It still is. It is very different tone as compared to like Scavenger's Reign or something. But it's very good. It's fucking. Don't watch it high. I think it'd be an awful trip. There's yeah. It does a lot of this.
It's itself a substitution for psychedelics.
Yeah, it's got a couple scenes that I'm like, what am I fucking watching? The Substance? Yeah. So, but it's very good. I will formally recommend it probably next week or next time we record. Yeah, it's been good. I did make one great culinary discovery, quote unquote. I effectively made an improvised like blizzard the other night.
Okay.
And I took like Girl Scout cookies and just smashed them, like just prison shivved them into submission in vanilla ice cream.
Okay.
Fucking great. Peanut butter patties, they're called tagalongs now.
Yeah.
Fucking just mashed them into vanilla ice cream. Oh my god, it was great. It was literally like getting a fucking Reese's Blizzard. It was terrific. I started.
So how high were you when you came up with this
culinary stone sober? Stone sober.
Stone sober is fat as fuck in the head.
Yeah. Listen, the last couple of nights are like actually the other thing I've been doing is like I've been watching Avatar, and so it's like I need more Iroh in my life, but it's been very good like easy watching because I tried to put together a like cat treadmill that my cats have promptly ignored, which I'm very pissed about. Like fucking run, you fat asses! Like I've tried to bait them on it with a laser pointer and shit. It's like the last couple nights because like I didn't play D&D Tuesday, sad, but we're making that up this afternoon. And like Monday night there was nobody around to play games. I'm just like fuck it. I've just been like sitting around on my couch, subsumed by my cats and blankets, and just been chilling. So I've had a couple of nights that were just cozy vibes, including ice cream with cookies mashed into it.
I deserve a treat.
Hey, I'm almost back up to swimming 2K, so we'll take
Hell
it.
Yeah, congratulations.
I wanted to go yesterday. Actually, I did go to the pool yesterday. However, apparently on Saturday mornings, so normally Sunday is my swim day, but I'm like, well, Eli's going to be here in the morning. I'm not going to get out of bed early. That's just not going to happen. And so I'm like, I'll go Saturday because he'll be in the afternoon. Perfect. Go in the morning. Well, it turns out there's like a fucking aquarobics class, so the pool was monopolized by a bunch of senior women. So I'm like, well, I turn around and just left because I went to the gym in fucking flip flops. I'm like, I am not suited to do anything else.
Damn, Granny got me again.
Yeah, like so I saw there's like a door you can exit the pool from, like down to the parking lot, but you can't walk in that way because you have to like scan in, right? Yeah. And so she opened the door. I just hear this fucking music pumping. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, am I hallucinating? And I go down and they're just like blasting some fucking what the hell were they like? Not like club music, although it kind of sounded like that when the first door was open.
That'd be so awesome.
It was
just
like,
walking into Gramps.
Listen, if I
feel 50 again.
Listen, if I just came down to the blasting like some fucking Avicii or something, I would just be amazed. Just like, fucking get it.
I mean, that's gonna be us when we retire.
Yeah, just blasting
65. I'm blue.
I was thinking more like some Chemical Brothers personally, but you know,
also that
sure. Just I would actually work out to go on repeat by Chemical Brothers. I could fuck with that. But yeah, it's like, well, shit. So I to the left because I was otherwise not ready to be at the gym.
That's fucking hilarious.
Anyway, what are you been up to?
Well, I too have been recently getting the workout bug of a sort. I've been doing a very minor core workout every other morning, and then just this last Friday and this morning, I have tepidly introduced doing kettlebells into my off day. It's
Nice.
very minor. I suck at it. My thigh muscles fucking hate me, especially
That
my right
happens.
one. So what?
That happens.
Yeah. But we persevere. So that's been going on. Definitely silly proud of myself. I don't know if you've ever like taken long breaks from working out and you do something that at a different time you easily could have done, and now you're like, this is my peak. And you're like, good job, me. Also, fuck. But that's my recent recent workout kind of upgrade. I'm very happy and proud of it. This
Nice.
last week was April 1st, and I had the least fun non-April Fools thing that happened on April 1st, which is I had two people who I had amazing conversations and time spent with, and they both canceled on dates that we had planned that week.
Rip.
One of them that day.
Like, sorry. I do have one interjection because you just made me think of a dumb conversation.
Love it. Hit me.
My boss tries to make a point to like sit down with people like every now and again. Like, I'll just sit in your cubicle and talk to you.
Mm-hmm.
Which like it's good. Like, overall, good thing to try and do. Keep up with your employees. Cool. The problem is that when he sits in our cubicle, if he doesn't have like a sports thing, he's got no common ground. Just fucking zilch. And so he just sits down unannounced. Like, he just walks over and just fucking sits. He's a big dude. Like, he's like
Mm-hmm.
fucking 6'4". He's just a big guy. And so it's impossible to not see him just like fucking lumber in. It's like, okay, shit, what's going on? And so he just sits down. I'm like, yes. He's like, just here to hang out. I'm like, all right.
Neat.
Yeah, pretty much. Just dead air. And so tried to do some of the basic small talk. I think he's like, did you have any good April Fool's pranks? I'm like, you're 37, man. Like, I wanted to say, but like, you're 37, I'm 31. The median age of this cubicle is not 13.
Yeah.
What are you doing? What are we doing here, Aaron? Why are we doing this? Just like, it's just like, oh God, like the floundering is worse than silence.
Only way that could have gotten better is if he like ran us to talk about it. He's like, so how's your yacht doing with all this weather? And just like something completely.
Yeah. It's like, oi.
Is your summer home summering yet? Like, just like.
Yeah.
So you think in Greece or Tokyo for winter solstice?
Just
it's like fucking what?
Yeah, it's just oi, yikes. Anyway, sorry. Proceed.
But yeah, I had to kind of at least they reached out, and it wasn't like Ghost City given our previous interactions, but it was definitely a bummer. Took me a little bit to recalibrate and get past it, but we survived, we persevered. And then had a date actually this last Friday night and then Saturday night, both of which went fine. I was kind of already not feeling date one, which is weird because so much of it was awesome. So they work in animation. They used to work on Venture Brothers and got to talk about that. Got like there was a bunch of cool little like intersection points, but this is where dating and peopling is so fascinating and shitty. Is there was just some common core, not even topics, but tenets that we didn't align up on of just like conversation. And it was like, oh, this is like not a good fit in that regard. And so see you later. Like we literally ended the night with a fucking handshake, like it was a business acquisition, which is, in my experience, never been a good sign.
Yeah.
But I mean, they are who they are. They were very nice and sweet, but it was just like the way our two conversational styles intersected. I'm like, I don't don't think so. And then luckily, this is one of the moments where ghosting is kind of nice. They didn't hit me back, and so I didn't have to like do any weird like, oh, it's been real. But this is like, oh, cool. We're just both we're both just not going to talk to each other and let this drift into non-existence. Yes. But yeah, so I mean, back to square one on the dating board, but here we go again. But I don't know, something about this. It's weird. I mean, this is a truism, I guess, with humanity, but the difference between getting to choose when something is done versus somebody else, it's interesting the multiplier that it adds on the effect. It's like if somebody else is like, oh, I don't think so. And like, even if you were middling on it, it's kind of a bummer. But when you have it in your head, you're like, cool, I'm done. And then either it mutually happens or you make the decision. Oh, feels so much better.
Yeah. Agency matters.
It's crazy. Definitely one of those funny humanity quirks that I think I have this interesting thought that when you like max out mental health and like kind of zen global focus, I think that stops to matter as much. I still think it always matters to some degree, but I think it is definitely one of those things of like when you realize the lack of control that yours does matter and also is irrelevant, but it's a quandary for a different time with more drugs.
I've got opinions on that, but I'll be talking for a while, and I don't think we need that.
Yeah, we don't need to fill the airwaves with our ramblings about something that doesn't matter. As I don't think either of us esteem or plan on becoming the Buddha in the next galaxy.
No.
Other than that, went and played. I don't know if I mentioned this last week because I'm trying to remember what exactly happened. But I went and played a Magic tournament with a friend. I was just there mostly as like, I'm gonna have fun. If I play against him, I get to kind of dump so that he gets to like ladder up to the next position because it's a qualifier, and I had already qualified as much as I possibly could already. Sadly, he didn't do well, and I just won the tournament. So I was like, oops. Just like got the money bucks, and I was like, all right, cool. Did the thing. All right, let's go get food. We went and got Chinese food, and I think my co-host here will know what I'm talking about. So I've never experienced this before, but at like a traditional Chinese restaurant, they have this kind of spice that it's not hot as much as it is numbing. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
I want to say it's like, I think it's like a certain type of like Szechuan seeds or something maybe. That it's listed as spicy, and this was the trick. I enjoy spicy if it's got good flavor. And it looked good. It was a noodle dish, this and that. I was like, that looks fun. Let's get that. Got it. And the spice makes it so that your lip, like you don't feel your lips. It's not hot. It's not like that kind of spicy. It's just like numbing spicy. And so I had then, after doing that, had difficulty tasting the dish because it does it to your tongue as well. So I felt like I had had COVID and was trying to eat something. It was just like, I don't know, like, I think I know what this tastes like, but I'm not sure because my my faculties are impaired. And I was like, oh, wow, I'm glad I had this once. Never again. And not because it was like unpleasant. Well, I guess technically it was, but it's like, I like tasting my food, it turns out.
Turns out. Taste is really important.
Crazy idea. But you know what? To pivot out with that great one. Speaking of crazy ideas, what are we talking about this week, my Broskinkowski?
We were talking about some things that may be hitting a bit too real and too close to home. We were talking about potential dystopian set pieces that we've either seen in something and we've really liked and want to talk about, or things that we've thought up and don't necessarily have a source material for.
And most of the ones that we like and want to talk about are ones that we feel like could be used more ubiquitously, or shouldn't be relegated to like a one-off that we've seen it in.
Yeah.
If this is something that has, we've seen multiple times, good. People
Yeah.
got the message. This is a dope dystopian like set piece to continually utilize as it, it's
Yeah.
for whatever reason. But a lot of these are ones that we haven't seen utilized enough or utilized at all. So, would you like to start, my bro hamster, or
Sure.
should I?
I can start. All right, let's make birth control mandatory. Which, at a cursory glance, doesn't seem too terrible. I mean,
Also, depending upon how you want to look at it, has happened before.
also that. But the reason that becomes problematic is that it makes if it's regulated, it becomes a casual form of eugenics. If people don't like you, people don't like something in your genetic code, people don't like something about your behavior or your tendencies or propensities for XYZ, well, they just don't ever let you come off of it. And it becomes really easy to track who is off of it if they're having kids and shouldn't. Um, it becomes a very stern and, forced method of control because you effectively instill mortality in people. Like you instill mortality in families. They can't act out of line if they ever want to propagate. Um, the kind of interesting place that I saw this was like Silo used it, and in part for like population control because they can't have too many people because they've limited space and all.
Yeah.
But it also was used to like weed out people that went against or questioned some of like social orders and constructs and stuff.
Yeah.
And so it was just like if that expands outward, it just gets more and more messy and more creepy.
Yeah, and like the society we are continuing to live in, it is much easier to keep tabs on people via electronic devices to make sure that this is happening. So if you, for instance, for ease of access, install the Baby No More. One prick and you're done forever.
Yeah.
And then, somebody has control over you where they can just pump this thing into you regardless, or not if they think you should be breeding. And the miracle baby that you have to, there's many like laws and ramifications. And the sad thing is, in the future, it's going to be easier. But in the past, this has happened. There have been countries that have had mandatory sterilizations or, something effective thereof.
Yeah, or like kind of a regulation on childbirth, like was like China's
one child policy.
Yeah, like one boy policy.
No, one child.
One child?
Most families chose to have a boy by throwing the girls off cliffs.
Oh, that's what it was. I had it mixed up.
Yeah. That's why their ratio of boys to girls is a lot cattywampus now. There's a lot of men in China and not that many women. So the women it has become like inverted as opposed to like guys like ruling the roost. I think the ratio is like something appalling, like a 3 to 4 to 1. So women are kind of being like, no, how much you like they are becoming that equivalency of blue eyes, 6 foot, tech job.
You got to get the 666,
Yeah. And they can kind of demand it because it's like they are such a commodity.
The sexual economy firmly favors the women.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So my first pick from this also sadly comes from reality, and one that is far too recent. So yesterday I was waiting for my date at a boba time, and I sat down, I'm waiting, and this girl comes over with her friend and her little babe. I'm like, oh, nice, spending time with a baby. Friend goes up to order boba.
Sure.
She's then sitting with her baby looking at her. And I'm like, oh, cute little baby time. And then she pulls out her phone. I'm like, oh, don't neglect the baby. Phone's always going to be there. These are the formative years. And then she turns on a YouTube video, puts it in front of her own face, facing the child. So the child gets interacted with and she doesn't have to. And I'm not looking here to judge. I could never be a parent. I don't have that kind of bandwidth, care, or love. It's not in me at the moment, or arguably ever. And I know it's exhausting, but also, like that is such a problematic thing to be doing. But also with technology, you see it more and more. They create apps for children. They create like versions of tablets specifically for children. It is
Mhm.
only a matter of time, and arguably, in many ways sort of exists, that you are going to have the cyber nanny
Yep.
that takes care of the kid, says the correct phases, does all this and that. When AI gets to the point where it can interact with conversations, it's going to say the right words. And here's the troublesome thing: you're never going to miss out on a moment with your kid because they'll record all the important ones. Your baby first stepped, you didn't need to be there. Let Cyber Nanny take care of this for you. You want to remember their first words? Good. We have them recorded in perfect sterling audio for you to enjoy forever. Never miss a moment with Cybernan.
I hate this advertisement.
Well, then maybe you should tell us a different story.
So what happened if all media was electronic? Which at
5 years from now?
I would say so in 5 to 10 years. The problem is that it would become largely trackable.
Yep.
And this feels a bit more like kind of on the idea of like Psychopaths to a degree is what I thought of. But like if everything is trackable and there's just a huge data set of who is checking out what, who is watching what, who is reading what, then you can start effectively ascribing it and assigning it as demographic data and start looking for trends. Like it just becomes this huge sociological data pile where you can be like, oh, if you read XYZ, you are this much more likely to commit a violent offense. If you watched A, B, and C, you are this much more likely to be a law-abiding citizen. If you watch,
and it starts to become like Minority Report adjacent.
Yes, like it starts to become effectively a prediction model for criminality, for
And here's the worst part: is those stats can all be juked and put in right in front of the you saw the bullshit with violent video games with us growing up, which has been proven to be the opposite,
demonstrably false.
Yeah, but in front of the right lawmakers.
The data can be skewed, it can be abused, it can be it can be. I mean, we're seeing it now with like targeted advertisements, but like you can start making trends of like, oh, you read D, E, and F, you clearly want these products.
Yep.
Let me push them to you. Like so you could just kind of use it for predatory marketing. It's another huge source of data and trend information that could be used in a myriad of ways if it was tracked with any real regularity, which like we're already seeing shit like that to a degree, and it's fucking awful. Like data brokers are already a huge fucking scourge. Like this is just let's just dial it up to 11.
Yeah.
Buy paperbacks.
So one of the interesting things I noticed this last week was I randomly through doom scrolling was the way VR floors work. So for those of you that don't know, when you're wearing a VR headset, they have these things, especially for like either games that you would go play at an arcade or systems you can buy for home versions, or if you're trying out some kind of simulation at work or for a business or a product, they have these floor patterns. They have a slight dip to them, and you can basically run in any direction.
Yeah.
And it works like a treadmill, but it's not always working. It reacts to you instantaneously. And they have like different nodule bits and this and that. And so you can do all this without moving. How cool. Well, my vile, evil brain went, what else can we do with that? Imagine a prison with no walls, no guard, where people could come and visit freely because that prisoner is immobile in that space. They cannot run. They cannot jump. There's a certain, diameter where they are stuck.
Yeah.
And if they're good, that diameter gets widened. If they're bad, or someone determines that they are bad, they get reduced to a 3x3 space that's open, free flooring. And there's nothing they can do. It's a straitjacket for your life. You are immobile with the guise of mobility.
You are forever corrected to a single spot.
Yeah. The food is brought to you. You, like, the plate's like edible or whatever like that, or disintegrates. The bathroom is below your ass at all times. Looks lovely and horrible. The idea of space, everything becomes this banal spot. And also, you can get moved in your sleep to wherever they want you to. And you won't even notice. You'll just wake up somewhere else. They can put a wall up beside you in a moment if they felt like they wanted to. But hey, it's more civil. Because, look, they're not caged in. They're in an open space. You can come visit.
Not being abused by prison guards.
Yeah. Cuts down on cost. It's, in quotes, more humane because they are not subjugated. In a traditional sense, anyway. They can take nice long walks. They are safe.
So much better I don't like. Oh my god.
But it's one of those things that not only is it an eventuality, I would presume, in our real world, which is horrifying, but in the fictional space, there's so much room for abuse that it like lends itself for story. And it is a great thought experiment on the horrors of what it can do to you if it's done correctly. There's so many ways that you can play with that and scare the poop out of people.
Yup. The physical limitation is like getting that kind of floor installed everywhere is probably tricky. And like there's probably a fair amount of like actual mechanical requirement to it, which is like the only reason it might not happen for a long time. I hope. Pray. Just stay out of jail. But no. Anyway, getting off this, it hurts my brain.
I'm scared. Change the channel.
Yeah, seriously. So, if you made fitness requirements standard, which, well, that seems on paper like it actually have a bunch of positive effects, and there's an argument that it might. Excuse me. There are some really nasty side effects because culture kind of follows a lot of standards and like social norms. So, if you make a requirement that people have to be able to do XYZ, and that's the standard, is that everyone can do XYZ, then that instills a sense of like, if you can do it better, you are better. Like that puts a prize premium on physical aptitude. But it also means that there is a huge negative stigma on physical ineptitude. And so for people who are disabled for whatever reasons, they are punished. You are effectively reprimanded by society for not being better. You are penalized if you are ever injured. If you, God forbid you're in a car crash and you lose the ability to walk, they're like, there's already a stigma against people who are disabled anyways in society, whether we want there to be or not. It's clearly there. Like, that's why things like the fucking ADA exist. Because otherwise you just fuck them over. So if it was baked into society that there is an expectation you will be physically firm, the people who are infirm, either by their own volition or because of external forces or just because of genetics being an asshole, you are absolutely hosed. You are even more looked down upon. You are even more reviled and curbed and ostracized and marginalized. But hey, most people are pretty because they can run.
Yeah. It's one of those ones that also takes away the kind of free will in a way. Like, I think most people would be best served to be in better shape.
Yep.
Especially in the United States. But also the beauty of this country and the beauty of that is that, yeah, well, some people are like, oh gosh, didn't see there. Oh. That ability, like we talked about earlier, that, human condition, being able to choose really matters, as opposed to being subjugated to meet this requirement or be punished. That instilling that into your people's brain, there's a lot of like subtlety to be played with in that. Like, if in a dystopian, like, you could create a dystopian slice of life horror show for a kid who's got an eating disorder in high school.
Yeah.
Out of that, and it'd be fantastic.
Yep. And there's an argument that nobody's meaner than children. All
right.
Yeah.
To take you away from the scary.
Please do.
Here's something even more horrifying.
Let's send it.
In the future, we will not have credit cards. We will not have ID cards, driver's licenses, yada yada. That will all be tracked by our fingerprint.
Oh, good old biometrics.
Yep.
How very Gattaca of us.
Yeah, you get to leave everything behind. You just get to, show up to work. Who are you? Put your hand down. You get to, how will you be? There will no be, how will you be paying for this? Anything like that. You just put your hand on the screen and it's done. Why is this a bad thing? It saves so much cost, reduces plastic usage. You can't ever forget anything. Well, couple things. One, if somebody steals your fingerprint, which that is doable.
Yep. It's pretty easy.
If somebody just grabs your hand, or depending upon how they do it, cuts off your hand.
That's maybe a little more barbaric than necessary, but
Yeah. And here's the really fun one. What if somebody, some asshole, burned your fingerprints? Like, held your hand to a stove or a, frying pan. You are no longer a person for at least a month.
Well, I mean, that does beg a question, like, are there any other biometrics used, like blood or something like that?
That's a fun way to pay for coffee.
I mean, just like a little finger.
Just stab me, you fucking prick. Mosquito.
just a little finger prick,
I mean, if that becomes a thing, then people just start siphoning blood. So that gets that also gets scary in a different direction.
True.
Just vampires, the ultimate the ultimate crime. Just people stealing.
Just blood siphoning.
Yeah, just Dracula running around committing identity theft. I have your bank account. The night is mine. Fucking flies off.
I want your bank account. I want your 401k.
I want your 401k. Great. But just that idea of potentially, depending upon how far you want to play with it, either you play with it far enough where it's a lot easier to steal an identity in a very peculiar way, like blood, or you don't, and it's tracked something that's unremovable in that it can't be, it's your eyes, it's your hands. It's like, well, there's problems with that.
Yeah. If you ever get disfigured or
yeah. And that the possibility of becoming a non-person that, like, you don't have to go to the DMV anymore, but also what happens if you effectively lose this unlosable form of identification. I would just like one cab, please. Sorry, you're not a human, according to this.
According to this, I don't know who the fuck you are.
All right, now that we've had a good laugh, what's the next one?
All
The
right.
old okay.
So what if you were a slave to your job?
Okay, so tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Anyway, well,
Shut.
so what I mean is like if this is in part inspired by like I watched some Alien, and like the way Wayland Yutani owns everything, they kind of own the people because they own the city. So it's like if enough industries effectively went, we want this to run this way,
Mhm.
they could make it happen where they have enough of the job market that you have to listen, otherwise you're just homeless. And it's like if the only way you could earn PTO, or the only way you could earn vacation, the only way you could earn any time off is performance, you are beholden to a potentially ever moving expectation. If they decide that you need to do more, you will, or we'll see you tomorrow. And if you can't keep up, we'll find someone who can. Um, the idea that just, and it wouldn't, like, I mean, if you could make 50% of the workforce do this, they have to do it, because if people just tried to leave hand over fist, there aren't enough places to support it. Like, it doesn't take that much coordination between a few large enterprises, and that could just be real. Like, if ever the government just kind of turns away and says, sure, whatever, like, because labor laws exist for a fucking reason, so this can't
And
happen.
anti-monopoly laws.
Yeah, I mean, anti-monopoly laws, yes, but bigger is labor laws exist for this kind of shit. I mean, not exactly, but
Yeah.
you know, this sort of idea of abuse and overexerting workers, and like, there's a reason that the 40-hour work week is what it is. That's because like originally it used to be way more, and people started to realize it didn't do anything good. And even now, it's actually realized that a 32-hour work week gets the same amount done as a 40-hour work week. Thank you, Sweden. I mean, they did like a huge longitudinal study, and they're just like, this is just as effective. This gets the same amount of work done. You just have happier people.
Yep.
But the company doesn't believe that, and the company likes control. And fuck you, I need more. I need more productivity out of you, or otherwise you're not going to Disneyland.
So this is interesting. I hadn't thought about this until you started explaining it. I went to a card room a couple years back in the Bay Area, and every single dealer, when they came to a table, punched in, and their hands per hour were tracked. And the more hands per hour you got out, the more shift mobility you had for more preferential shifts and better days.
Yep.
And the worse it was, the more you were relegated.
Yep.
So this is already in certain circles becoming a thing.
Well, I'm gonna say that is a little different to a degree. Like every job has performance tracking that I've ever had has performance tracking, and like that's not new. And like how much people use or abuse that is kind of different versus like, but there's an expectation that you will have X amount of PTO, you will work X amount of hours.
Sure.
Like, but if people start defying that standard because you're not doing enough, that's where it becomes like really problematic, I think.
Sure. But like one of the issues was in this, it wasn't done for the right reason.
Sure.
Because one of the issues is when you are dealing poker, the most important thing is that you are, as a dealer, you are one of the only parties at the table that is completely neutral. You are governed by a set of laws, and you make decisions based on
Sure.
that. You have now just given reason for that dealer to no longer be impartial. They are partial not to one way or the other, but to speed of action, which changes the way the game is fundamentally played. So it is
True.
just for a control aspect.
Yeah.
It is not actually beneficial entirely. In fact, I would argue in many ways it's not.
I'd argue detrimental, but yeah.
Detrimental to their service. But it was a way for them to control their employees.
Yep.
And make them do what they wanted, but was unethical.
Got to get more rakes.
Yep. So we've kind of talked about media a little bit before, but I'm gonna go back to one of our favorite shows, Futurama, for a bit of impetus here.
Mm-hmm.
There is the iPhone, EYE phone that
Yeah.
comes out in like season 3 or 4,
Yep.
wherein where we get the fantastic quote of Fry's,
Shut up and take my money.
What if, and in the eventual future, there will be only or predominantly phones that are chips? You have this
Mm-hmm.
phone in your head. You can't lose it. You always have it at hand's reach. One of the initial problems, it's obvious, is because becomes the addiction is just insane,
Yeah.
where you can never get away from it.
So
You can
you
never
can't
turn
you
it on.
can't set
put
the
it away.
damn thing down.
Yeah,
Literally.
you can put it on silent and hope to forget that you have it in your head. But then here comes the wrinkle. It always comes back to why we need to eat the rich, other than the fact that they are tastier than us.
First, they taste like chocolate.
Yeah, let's find out. So a lot, and this is going to be a lot of my next couple moving forward, rich people often get away with doing things by paying money. Doing things that they should not be doing, arguably,
Yep.
by paying money. So what happens if in the firmware they rewrite it so that companies that pay X can bypass do not disturb? Because once you've got the chip in, are you really going to pay to get it out?
You gotta
We
pry it
see
out
how
yourself.
many people buy and stick with iPhones, even though it's come out that, oh, by the way, iPhones are meant to stop being good after a set period, which is around the time that 2 models have come out.
Planned obsolescence.
Whee!
Boop, boop.
So you think that they're gonna let this not be profitable for them in some way or the other? Fuck no. Companies, advertisers, your boss, they're all gonna pay to bypass this bullshit. You're gonna have to get upgrades, otherwise the thing in your brain is going to be obsolete, or arguably worse. And are you really going to be that guy that has a flip phone that has, a touch screen? You're going to be one of those like muggle normie weirdos?
Yeah.
Or are you going to let, somebody like Elon stick something in your head so that you can be with it? You can be hip.
Happening.
Exactly.
Ugh. Sorry, the idea of Elon putting anything in my fucking head, I hate it.
I don't like the idea of Elon.
I don't like the idea of
putting
Elon full
anything
stop.
anywhere.
But yeah.
Unless it's him in a cargo bin at the bottom of the ocean, I would like him not to put anything anywhere. So perhaps I could use your next product to make me feel a little bit better about the circumstance.
What if you could just buy mental health?
Shut up and take my money.
Picture mental health. Picture it like Kodak. Oh my God, what does mental health look like? It's easy vote incognito. Anyway, if there was a drug that you could just buy that made you confident, self-assured, suave, the works, it makes you who you want to be. It gives you that confident, the fucking aura, as the kids would say. Gives you the panache. It's the stuff. Okay. Where does it stop and where do you start? What is it worth for you to get some more? The rate for dependency on that is outrageous. I mean, people already have issues with shit like fucking ADD medication. People have issues with shit like weed because it brings down the anxiety. Holy fuck, can you imagine how much how much it would fly off the shelf if you could take something that not only reduced your anxiety to nil, but made you a hit with other people, but gave you the peace of mind and presence of mind to be able to publicly speak without your fucking hands getting sweaty? Oh my good God.
Look, I know I don't have the money now, but I'll have it next week. I swear to God, I just need one more hit.
Yeah. People like the amount of people, And people would absolutely delude themselves into thinking they couldn't without it. The There are so many people, like there's actually a lot of problem with like overprescription of things like Xanax, where people develop anxiety issues because they fear being anxious without the medication. Hilariously.
It all comes full circle.
Yeah. Like people who are unnecessarily prescribed, like people who are unnecessarily prescribed medication of many sorts, but especially anti-anxiety meds, develop anxiety problems without like it's seriously a problem. Like people who are prescribed fucking ED medication often develop ED if it's like unnecessary, because most of the time
Wild.
it's got it's got like deeper seated issues that you're just not addressing and you're ignoring, so you're just developing a dependency. So the second you can't take the thing you developed a dependency of, it just makes the original problem so much fucking worse. So if you did that for something that it's everything and all of your mental attributes and faculties, holy shit, you wouldn't be able to function without it. You would be a paranoid wreck without it. Oh, but the money. Ooh. Oh. Cha-ching. Fuck it. That is Big Pharma's wettest dream, to use and abuse and hook everybody on. Because why be you when you can be better?
Yeah. I don't have a good answer for that question.
Yeah, exactly. Like, maybe you can develop the skills on your own. Here's a shortcut.
Yeah.
Enjoy.
Here's a lifetime of self-examination therapy in a pill.
Yeah. The gift that keeps giving.
Yeah.
Oh, hello.
I would have taken that. I would have taken the pill before you would have told me the side effects. Just being real here. You tell me what it can do, and it's already down the hatch.
I just thought of Venture Brothers. It's like the where they give them like the depowering serum or whatever. It's like constipation and diarrhea. It's like, how can you have both? Oh, wait, did you say loss of life? It's just a side effect. So where are you going? My cat is now ascending my chair, and it does not have a big headrest for her to try and stand on.
Well, speaking of where are you going, my next dystopian set piece is good old Google Maps.
Maps.
The thing that gets us everywhere.
Yep.
What if it could write you a ticket? What if instead of letting you know where the cops are, it became the cop? Because it tracks how fast you go.
Yeah.
And wouldn't it save the government so much money?
So many man hours.
So many man hours. The applicability of it for it to always be on. Hell, I mean, we saw it happen ages ago when Google went public. Do you remember one of the first things they did?
No.
Google was the de facto search engine for almost all, if not all, browsers.
Mm-hmm.
That's how they are a family name at this point.
Yeah.
They use that as a jumping off point. I think they paid like, whoever, like probably I guess at the time it would have been oh my god, I haven't used it in so long. Is it Internet Explorer?
Yeah.
They paid Microsoft or whoever. It's like, all right, have this be,
Have this be your default search engine.
have this be the default, and the rest was history.
It worked.
Yeah. So next move, they pay, sheriffs, highway patrol. It's like, it'll save you so much money because you won't have to pay people to do these things that don't really matter.
Yeah.
And it'll catch everyone. You go 5 miles an hour over for a set amount of time, and they hit you at that rate. Which, cool, you just don't go that fast. Oh, there's a couple other problems. One, rich people just go that fast. They pay that premium subscription, and they just get to go 80.
Yeah.
School zones no longer apply, yada, yada. Also, what else would rich people do with that as a privilege? maybe you get taxed for going into certain neighborhoods if you're on a list or not on a list. Let's just bring back digital Jim Crow laws. Don't drive here, otherwise it costs you money. Well, unless you're the people that they're okay with you being there. I mean, we already see this to a much, 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 much lesser degree with the. I think it's happening up in Washington as well as down here in LA. They have lanes where, oh yeah, you can go on this road. It's just it's going to cost you like $2.75 a minute or a mile or whatever it is.
And ours isn't like distance based, but it's just like if you're just like using it.
Yeah,
but yeah,
you pay a fee.
There's like toll lanes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Express
but it's
lanes.
Just like, who's that made for? In theory, like most things, it starts off with a good idea. Most of these
that helps pay for infrastructure.
Yeah, it helps pay for the roads. It helps the people that want to pay that much can help it, and also mitigates the speed of traffic, this, that, and the other. It's cool.
Yeah.
It's the ripple effect. It's that next thing. What is it doing?
Yeah. How else can it get value?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because all businesses look for is money. All right, close this out. What's your last one?
Last one is horrifying because it's going to happen.
I mean, I think most of these.
No. This one will happen.
All right, scare me.
Notably, first, it's going to happen to South Korea. Populations are dwindling. So there's been the talk for a little bit about like a lack of birth rates, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so the problem is that a lot of people who fucking hooted, hollered, and waved their arms were fucking maniacs like Elon Musk, who just sounds like they wanted more fucking peons for their workforce, which they probably do, but that's besides the point. So South Korea is currently getting 0.7 children per woman. Like that is the birth rate. It's 0.7 per one.
Mm-hmm.
In 2060, I think it's half the population will simply not exist. They will die. And they will not be replaced. So instead of having, 2.5 to 3 people in a workforce per elderly person, you will have one. That will absolutely warp how things work. And beyond just that, beyond just the sudden financial ramifications, if you're trying to maintain society in the same way, you will do things like small towns just won't get to exist. It won't have enough people. You already see some evidence of this in places like Japan, where there's just millions of rural houses that are for sale that are cheap as shit, but there's no one to live out there. Culture will start to die because there will be no one with the time to maintain it. It will just kind of erode. There will be less time for art. There will be less time for entertainment. There will be less time for commodities because there are less people to maintain a workforce to preserve infrastructure. There will be less people who can take care of elderly people. There will be more isolation. There will be a lack of community simply because there's a lack of people. You have a lack of peers. You just interact with less people because there are less people. And because there's so much, it's a self-feeding problem too, because there's so many less people in the workforce, you have less impetus to have kids because you're so bogged down and busy, which only furthers the problem.
All right. One, that's awesome. I'm terrified.
It's horrifying, yes.
But two, I think you have incidentally, for me at least, done one thing that was unintended from this.
Okay, what the fuck did I do?
You made that description is the first time I've ever heard a reason or a positive reason and implementation of AI and automation, because it actually kind of fixes for that.
It does.
And
So
in theory,
in theory.
let's start with there.
Yeah.
In theory, because some of the things you're talking about are, they're going to get bogged down because work is a time. It's like, well, if there's less people, there's less that needs to go around, which means less needs to be cultivated.
Yes, and
so hold on, let me riff on this for a sec.
Okay.
So, and then the keeping up of small towns. If you have automation, you can live in a smaller area and stuff can be more easily moved to you. The culture, that can become occupations if so much becomes automized that we don't need people to
Automated. Sorry.
Automated. Yeah, no, you're totally fair. Automated. So if so much becomes automated, then the possibility of preservation of society or culture becomes almost like a job unto itself that people could take part in. They could do more art because of the amount of automation that's being done. Obviously, automation needs to get to a certain point, but with the way the world's spinning, I think that is quite likely. So, in a way, this kind of, I don't know. That is a reason for automation to be a boon, not a bane. If I think I have that right.
Yes, you do.
Yay.
So there's caveats with this, and to keep adding to the bad train. So people have done projected, like, because there's been kind of a rate you can see worker efficacy and worker productivity increase, and even calculated with the projections to keep going the trend they are, it still doesn't keep up, which is kind of crazy. And the other problem too is that as you lose young people, you lose innovation. You lose, like, because old people are not the people who make new technologies. They just aren't. Like, statistically speaking, they just aren't. So as you just have less and less young people, you have less and less stuff, and like less and less new ideas entering the fray. Like, there was and the reason I say this, and it scares the piss out of me. Kurzgesagt did a really big breakdown of it, and just how a demographic train is just kind of an unmitigatable fucking disaster, because it's so hard to get off of and course correct for, because it just hits you before you think about it, and it's kind of insidious. Like, so yeah, it's really scary. Like, the idea that just society will just kind of die because there just aren't people to replace it. Like, yeah.
It is wild to think about. It would be bad to be there at the end, but I mean, again, finding a ray of sunshine. Think of how much faster it is to get to work.
Sure.
Taking the Bill Burr approach of like,
sure,
man, I probably could like play for the Seahawks next year. Like 3 generations, first lining starter, just because I can buckle my shoes.
Yeah, it's crazy, because like one of the things you don't think about is how many people are required to make society operate. It's like, as you just lose bodies, you lose that potential.
Mm-hmm.
And like, that's, it's, and as much money as some fucking Muppets may have, they don't have bodies. So yeah, it's
fascinating.
It's alarming. Like, if you really want to be afraid,
by that metric, one of two things is likely to therefore happen. One, the mandatory birth control might be made. I mean, this would kind of feed into the reverse, is there could be a future where
mandatory
people are
rate.
Yeah, like people have to fuck.
Yeah.
Which is a really cool dystopian story to write, of like, just like,
get after it.
Yeah. What's your job, broodmare? Just like, I fuck.
Just some really fucking exasperated, dehydrated guy. He's just a bull. He's just a big fucking sperm bank.
I have worked with many a person that would love this future that you are now discussing.
I feel like it's one of those things. It'd be really fun for like 3 months, and then you'd just be like, just want a night, man.
Yeah. Can we just talk?
No!
Get after it.
Pull down those pants. Like,
snoo. Ah!
the mind is willing, but the flesh is spongy and bruised. All right, what's your last entry here?
To end this out, so my brain is clearly in third gear, so I'm going to continue talking about driving. As we can see now, I don't know if it's up near you, but here in Los Angeles, there are what is called Waymos. Have they made it up to you yet? Has the invasion happened?
I haven't noticed them, at least, but
so Waymos are, I believe it's a Chinese-owned company that has a self-driving car that does taxi work, and with pretty low incident has not had any issues, and better than like your average driver, I would presume.
How do you spell this? I'm curious what these look like.
Waymo, I think.
Oh yeah, I was way off.
You're Waymo off. I
don't think I've seen. I feel like I may have seen this once, or just something that looked sort of like it. But
yeah.
Okay.
So in the future, my projection and also fun dystopian thoughts is that, I don't know how long it's going to be, but I think there's a good chance we see it in our lifetime. You will not be allowed to drive cars, period. It will become equivalent to smoking or owning a gun in certain countries. It is going to be for people that can pay a lot of money or show that they have a perfect record. Or, kind of like guns in rich countries. Other than hunting, for a lot of European countries, if you want to do something with a gun and it's not illegal, what do? You go to a shooting range where your gun is stored and you can use it there. Your little plaything. Whee! So I would be willing to bet that in the future, or, for fun writing classes, to drive a vehicle, you will have to either have a perfect record or pay money and go to a track or go to, a driving zone where you can drive for fun and pay like an exorbitant tax. The other part of this is, and this one kind of came from a short story that I was kind of working on after there's this movie that I've been told is good, haven't seen it, called The Last Black Man in San Francisco. And it's toying with the idea of, oh shit, what's it called? What's it called when a identity of a neighborhood changes? Shit.
Not gentrification.
No, gentrification, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it is talking about the gentrification of San Francisco and how, not so much anymore, mostly whitey rocking up in those streets. And the idea was, at some point, assuming this projection is this horrific projection is correct, although horrific is, depending upon how you want to look at it, I suppose, there's going to be someone who is the last taxi driver on Earth or in a major metro.
Yeah.
And like, in the way that I'm seeing this, they are going to have a perfect record. So some drunk asshole, some long day, some red dress is going to catch their eye, and they are going to lose that livelihood, and that will cease to exist. And I think this can obviously be like modified to where this is problematic, either by, cost increases or villainization or AI overthrow, kind of like the Skynet nonsense. But there is a lot of positivity in this, that, the amount of, one of the leading causes of death in most countries is, vehicular mistakes, whether it be running over some poor pedestrian or getting in car accidents because drunk or whatever. Now imagine you could always go out, even though, that being said, the alcohol consumption in most countries is actually diminishing greatly. You could go out, have an insane night, and always get home safe. Assuming you didn't do something stupid. But, like the getting home, the transportation aspect is now 100% safe. You no longer have to find parking. You press a button, and either a taxi shows up or your car that found a place to park, a silo in which to house itself for the time you were at wherever, comes and picks you up. But as always, money corrupts. So
Without fucking fail.
yeah. How would that present itself in this one? I'm not entirely sure, but I'm sure as you look at our political and living landscape, they'll find a way.
Oh yeah. Well, this has been harrowing.
Well, to give us both a moment, and you, the listener at home, to get a little pep in your step, we're going to throw it to an ad break. Perhaps something cheerful or reminiscent of how horrifying this was. We'll see. You back in a minute. Do you need 100 pounds of butter? Come on down to Company Street Company.
What if I need 30 gallons of olive oil?
Come on down to Company Street Company. But what if I just want one flatless bird roasted for a reasonable price? Come on down to Company Street Company.
Okay, but
Just come on down to Company Street Company. We have everything for a better price, free snacks, and employees who don't want to kill themselves or you because we treat them like fucking human beings. Yeah, but yup.
even
Just get your ass down to Company Street Company, where the only sketchy thing we've ever done is enable frozen orange juice hoarders. Hey, there you are.
Hello, people. Welcome back.
Are you happy? We are to see you. I think.
Well, I've got a fun recommendation for us.
While we're on the dystopian.
Keep with the trend of dystopia. I like the Alien franchise, even if the last couple of them were pretty fucking shit. Like the stuff after Prometheus and arguably Prometheus, not great.
Blech.
Not a big fan, are we?
Nope.
No. Okay. Alien Romulus is actually pretty fucking good.
Nice.
It does a really good job, barring like one event. It does a pretty good job with like character motivations and character actions, which I appreciated. And it does this a very clear distinction between like the cold logic, like cold robotic logic versus like human emotion.
Mm-hmm.
And so it plays with that a bunch, like plays into it a bit, which it's fun. It works pretty fucking well. And it does a good job like establishing stakes and kind of motivations really early. It does a good job with like it doesn't try to outspand its scope more than it needs to. It's just good. It's a really good self-contained Alien movie. Like if you know a bit about Alien, it works better because you kind of know why you're afraid. Like there is a scene early on where like the main plot is that they want to get Cryo so they can fly off this fucking shitty ass Weyland-Yutani settlement because they're literally being worked to death in mines.
Fun.
Yeah, so they just want to get like they basically just want to get cryopods off of this like space station that's in orbit. Well, they find cryopods, but they don't have enough fuel, so they have to go get cryo from somewhere else. They take cryo from a room that has a bunch of face huggers. Well, when they take the cryo out, the face huggers start to thaw.
Ah!
Oh yeah, it also is the first Alien movie that does a lot with face huggers. Oh my god, it's uncomfortable.
Facehuggers are one of the most terrifying things ever.
Oh yeah, there is a scene you would despise because they use them more than just like the little surprise. Like they're just like big fucking spiders in this. Yeah, no, it's just like, oh no, get me out. Like there's like a couple scenes where they're just like chasing them down a hallway. It's like, I hate it. Hate everything about this. But yeah, it's really good. Like I give it like a solid 8 out of 10. Like it's a solid Alien movie.
Nice.
Again, barring one stupid thing where I'm like, what are you doing? Like, but otherwise, great. It's very fun.
Nice.
What about you?
So on my flights a couple weeks ago to Charlotte, I watched a couple movies on my phone. One of which I tried to watch was 100 Beavers, which I really like the idea of. If any of you have seen the trailer for it or looked at clips from it, it's very silly looking. It looks like it was made really cheap, but with this kind of slapsticky, fun uh, idea, process behind, just uh, they did a lot of green screen work, and then it's a guy facing off against 100 beavers in this Looney Tunes absurdism sort of thing.
Sure.
The beavers are dressed up in they're humans dressed up in dorky beaver costumes.
Excellent.
They use a lot of the kind of Acme style humor, not holding up a sign, but overreacting and being really hokey
Sure.
and playing with physics. It's very fun.
Very cartoony. Got it.
Except apparently with the budget, also the writing doesn't really exist, and it just the movie is like an hour plus of gags, and it turns out those have diminishing returns, and there's a reason Looney Tunes were like 10 to 12 minutes. It's because after that might need a break
when the novelty wears off.
Oh yeah, and it did. I was like 14 minutes in, I was like, fuck me, this is tired, and so I turned it off. But if that's your thing, it's really hokey, it's really silly. I think it's free, and it was fun. It's on Amazon Prime, I think. I don't know.
Okay.
It was fun for a minute, and then it just got weird. Also, the fact that it like is clearly made on a really low budget. While I love that for the people that make it, it does also make the product a little harder to watch.
It's certainly for some people, not for others.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what you're looking for, and you're going, that sounds like a great time. I don't know why he's complaining. Go watch it, please. Like, please support this person. I think it's great that they did this, and that we live in a time where people can make this and it gets appreciated and funded. Love that.
Yeah.
Another movie that I also had a problem with but enjoyed a lot more was Wild Robot.
I think we have the exact same problem.
So Wild Robot is a fun sci-fi, futuristic, one could argue dystopian story that sadly the science sucks, but the vibes are immaculate.
I mean, like, are you talking about like the fact that she could just commune with animals, basically?
No, that was weird, but I was willing to suspend disbelief.
Okay,
We've got AI that like somehow develops a way to think when none other can, so whatever.
Sure.
My issue is that so brief TLDR. Also, knowing the ending does not change. Like we're probably going to talk spoilers. It sounds like for a hot second.
We're probably going to.
It changes nothing. You should still go see the movie. That being said, I'll try to add a thing of like when you should go to avoid spoilers. But fast forward a couple minutes. I don't know.
We finished talking about Wild Robot at 1 hour, 26 minutes, and 40 seconds.
So lands on this planet, learns how to speak with animals, accidentally kills most of. They're supposed to be geese, right?
Yeah, the geese.
I think kills most of a geese like nest, which also the placement of it is bizarre given where the rest of them live, but we'll move beyond that. And then raises it, and it ends up coming to this weird point where she learns how to like be a mom via a fox. Weird. But she teaches all these animals to not eat each other, which a lot of them are carnivores. So if you look at like it from a biological standpoint, I'm like, how the fuck does this work?
Well, I mean, to be fair, it's just while they're in the hut. The hut is Switzerland.
The hut is definitely Switzerland, although the way the bear talks to the fox at the end makes it sound like maybe it proliferated beyond that, but sure.
Yeah.
The big, but it doesn't. It is not a movie that holds up under scrutiny.
No,
it's a movie.
It's a goofy kids movie. Like,
it's a goofy kids movie, and I think for that, and for the parents that have young kids that would watch this, it fucking soars, and it's really, really sweet. But any amount of scrutiny, any amount of being like, wait, how does this world function? And it topples like a house of cards for me. But when it comes to the message and the vibes, I think it's probably a 9 out of 10.
I love the vibes. I like the movie, and it obviously required some suspension of disbelief. It's a fucking robot teaching itself how to take care of a gosling. Okay, let's just roll with it. I really didn't like the last third of the movie
Why?
because it needed to end sooner. Like I would have liked so much more if the
It
movie
ends when they just leave.
yeah, like if she
Yeah.
just helps.
I thought that's when it was. I wasn't paying attention at the time. I thought that legitimately was going to be.
I did too. It would have ended so much better if she just like powers down after her quote unquote son leaves. That would have been such a better ending. That would have been such a beautiful ending, albeit
It's a
tad
little
tragic.
as having to teach kids about this. It would be a little too much. Oh fuck! What's that? Like the boy in the tree or whatever. What's that fucking poem?
The Lorax.
No. There's a
Giving Tree.
the Giving Tree. It ends up a little like the Giving Tree when you look at it from a female lens. It becomes very sad, and
Sure.
and not in a good way. Like you're telling women that their only value is when they have a child,
I mean,
kind of way. So I like that.
don't agree with that, but
That's a lot of feminist critique on the Giving Tree. Is that it's like the only value.
I mean that message doesn't necessarily apply here. Like I would push against it a little bit.
I think there are valid criticisms for both, but I think the reason that there is the next third is so that the character has a life of its own after.
But it makes no sense. Also, I would argue.
No, I agree that it's better, but I'm saying that's the reason they wrote
Sure.
it.
I think my reply to the being like the only value is that she choose a parent. It's like no, she chose that because at any point she could have just gone home. Like to a degree, she opted in to care for a child. She opted in to give her time. Like that became the value. It wasn't forced upon her. She took it up as a responsibility and like saw it through. And there's value in seeing it through and whatever. Anyways, my problem with the back third is that they get fucking everything. There's no cost
To what?
to anything. There's no cost to her being there when she shouldn't. Like she's on the island longer than she should be. So there's no cost to her leaving.
Oh, sure.
She gets to she gets to keep her memory.
Yeah.
Garbage.
It would be better if like she has to relearn.
Just to really, or just like if they won't even do that, have her like look at geese flying by like the dome, which kind of like blink twice, and like the little teaser. But having him just show up, like he could also now just keep sneaking in. No, no, you can't just give everything. There should be cost. We've had this conversation before. Yeah. There's no cost. There's no real
kids movie.
I don't fucking care.
I agree, but I'm saying that's why.
So I actually had this conversation with Eli when we left because I saw it with him, and we agreed that like that gives a wrong impression. I think, like I think kids movies should still show cost. Like there should.
I agree.
There should just the idea that you can get everything is bad. And like
I mean, you're readdressing one of my biggest critiques with the Hunger Games.
Yeah, like, and I agree with it, and just like it's, but like the Hunger Games sort of has some precedent because it's like entertainment value, and like whatever. That's a longer topic than I want to get into, but there should be a cost to her actions, or there should be a cost to his actions, or something. Like there aren't. The only place that which also, how the fuck do they make such complicated androids that can't shoot? And also that totally flies against the idea of like the robots can't hurt you. It's like the robots can't hurt you and then fucking cue the guy with a railgun. I'm just like, Jesus Christ. That one can. That totally made zero fucking sense to me too. Where they're just like, where it would have been, that scene would have been so much cooler if he's like, the robots can't hurt you, and he could just have value for having different life experience. Like that would have been so much better. Just the last third felt so sloppy and messy and schlocky out of nowhere. Which like I really wanted to like that movie so much more, but just the last third left such a bad taste in my mouth.
It definitely like leaned into, we're a kids movie, we don't have to hold up to any amount of scrutiny, logic, or writing convention. It
just would have been so much better if it held up to some logic or some writing convention. Like I'm fine with the eschewing. Like I'm down with the suspension of disbelief. I'm down with it just not obeying scientific principle and just like kind of defy natural order in some regards. But like, I just hate that they get away with everything.
Yep. I will say, despite them getting away with everything, the emotional heartstring grabs are immaculate.
They're very
I
good.
cried multiple times in that movie.
The vibes and the like allusion to parenting and the playing it by ear, solid.
Yeah.
Like, damn, it did that really, really well. Like, and that again, that's what frustrates me is the first 2/3 or first 2 acts were so well done for that.
It does have good emotional draws in the third. It just runs
It's
in the
just
face
so-
of the story.
It's so
that it
hampered.
made. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it's
muddled.
like it's fine, but it's not good like the first
Look,
2/3.
The
were.
reasons you should watch this are: you want a heartwarming tale where you're going to cry.
Yep.
You have kids.
Yep.
You're a kid.
Yep.
If you fit those criteria, you should watch it. If you don't, you should not watch it.
Yeah.
There's
Also,
very little value other than those 3 elements.
Yeah.
But if you do meet any of those criteria, you definitely should
Also
watch it.
also does have really good voice acting. Its cast is kind of nuts.
Yes.
Its cast is crazy, actually.
Yeah.
That
I
was
mean,
one-
you're seeing that more and more in
Yeah.
animation in general.
Yeah. Like,
But-
I mean, god damn, like
No, that's heavy.
fucking Pedro Pascal, fucking Mark Hamill's in there,
Mhm.
Bill Nye, fucking, I think it's
Lupita Nyong'o is the
thank you. She's the
robot.
lead. Like, yeah, his voice acting is crazy.
bangers.
Kit Connor, what the fuck is Kit Connor in? Why do I know
Reasons Eli asks himself every day when he picks up the call.
you?
Why do
Oh,
I
he's
know
the
him?
main. He's the main person in Ready Player One. Okay.
Well, speaking of players, and you being one of them,
Oi,
what
okay.
is-
I'm gonna go on. I'm gonna be angry for a moment.
buckle up, kids. Here it comes.
All right. I've for fucking ages actually. I have played Path of Exile. I huge fucking GGG stan. I think PoE 1 is the creme de la creme of the ARPG genre. I don't think it's fucking close. It just has better depth of field, it has better creativity options, it is better fucking everything than anyone else. Except maybe graphics. Its graphics are a little old, but they look good. The breadth you can do, the storytelling is really good. The build diversity is crazy, etc. I can glaze it for a while. PoE 2 has problems. And to be fair, PoE 2 is in early access, and they did a beta launch effectively, like at the start of the year, like in January. And I played it, and I got to endgame with it, and I struggle bust through it, and I gave it a very lukewarm reception. It just had problems. And I think one of which was that you can't get deterministic power gains in any meaningful capacity, which is very frustrating if you're playing without a trade market, because you can't reliably make your own gear, or at least reliably make moderate upgrades, which I think is a requirement. Like you should be able to do that reliably, and you can't, and that's really bad. So, excuse me. They had a massive update recently, and oh my god, they fucked up so many things. It's crazy. They nerfed so many skills. They made it slower. The game was already slow, and I think someone summed it up best. A streamer by the name of Zizarin. He's like, you're playing PoE 2, the monsters are still playing PoE 1. The monsters are faster than you. They have like fucking collision, so they can actually push you backwards, which is awful. And they can interrupt spellcast because they reduced like stun threshold and ailment threshold, so you can just be CC'd easier, which is so much fun. I love losing control of my character. And there still isn't mobility skills. Movement speed is a fucking sought after premium and is hard to guarantee. There's like, just Jesus Christ, like there's still things that can be powerful and whatever, but like all they pretty much did was gut most skills. They just made everything do less damage. There was so much outcry and so much frustration that within 24 hours they nerfed monsters in the campaign because it was such a slog for people. They took off 25% of the HP in monsters in the campaign because so many people just went, Jesus fucking Christ, I can't kill anything. This is taking so goddamn long. Like, it's they want, and like they keep insisting, and they keep making this insistence on like combo skills and like having to combo things together, and it's like, that's all well and good in a vacuum, but it doesn't work with the way an AARPG plays, where it's like a fucking swarm. It doesn't work. Like, god damn it. And their defensive layers are still shit. All they did was they made one of them worse. They didn't buff the other two. Like, there's no good way to keep yourself alive. It just flies in the fucking face of why PoE1 is good. And it's like, because you can actually make yourself really tanky, because it's a good power fantasy game. And they're just like refusing to do that in PoE2. They're like, they wanted to be the Dark Souls of ARPGs. It's like, that doesn't fucking work. Dark Souls is a goddamn game for a fucking reason. Jesus H. Christ, half of your gameplay should not be dodge rolling. Fuck you. There's two things that I'm going to fucking go before I end this tirade. I'm almost done. Hang on. There's two things that piss me the
Hold
fuck
on, I
off.
need to go get more popcorn.
Okay, yeah. So, butter it up. So, there's two things that piss me off fundamentally about fucking PoE2. One is what they fucking updated and added in, and it's so stupid. PoE2 has no crafting system. It is, I wish I could say I took credit for this, it's identifying with extra steps. Because all you can do is add mods to an item and then pump it up to maximum number of mods, but you have very little to no control of what actually goes on. So what's on is on. The only way to change what's on is to Chaos Orbit, which randomly removes one mod, replaces it with another. Awful. There's like one way to kind of guarantee a mod, but you can only do it once. And after that, it's just chaos spam it. That's it. So they introduced, one of the new currencies they made for the end game is they made fucking fracturing orbs, which what it does is it imprints a modifier on an item. It like makes it so that can't ever change, right? So if you have, plus 100 physical damage, that is forever part of that item. It never goes away. You can't get rid of it if you chaos spam it. But the problem is that's all you can do with that item is chaos spam it. You just fucking roll the slot machine forever. It's like the fucking reason the fracturing orbs are so good in PoE1 is you make it part of the base item. So you can scour it and you can reset the mods on the item and then work from there with one of your mods guaranteed. So they introduced the best way to make a base item in PoE2, except with a way to reset your base item to actually craft on. What are you fucking idiots thinking? Of all the things to create and to add into the game, you added the one thing that has almost a zero use case. You can do exactly one thing with that item after you fracture a modifier on it, and it's chaos spam it. You fucking idiots. Oh my god, put scours in, put a way to reset your items so you can at least roll the slot machine on the same base, because that would make fracturing orbs really valuable. It would actually give them a good use case. God damn it. Second, and this one galls me. This is what I'm actually angry about, and I want to punch people. Your default attack is your strongest skill for single target damage early in the game. And for a long time, actually. So any person who plays melee, you're going to default attack until fucking level 20. And it's not close. So they're like, for example, there's an ability called Rolling Slam that when Sean was playing, his Rolling Slam damage with support gems in it, mind you, so it should be stronger. His Rolling Slam damage was about 40 DPS. His default attack with 0 support gems in it was 100. Okay. So a casual fucking 2.5x, again, with no support gems. It's not being buffed by anything. It just does more damage. Way more damage. Okay. The problem I have with that, other than I think that's really awful design, because default attacking is really boring. You're playing a fucking game about magic and crazy monsters. The last thing I want to do is bonking them with a fucking 2x4. But fundamentally, from their own canonical lore writing, it makes zero sense. And they even showed it in their cinematic they made. Ugh. They introduced the Huntress, and she's like banished from her home because one of the things she did is she used a skill gem. She used a thaumaturgical gem. That's in the lore. That's what they are. They're basically magic rocks that you can harness the power of. And the reason that the exiles are so strong, or at least like the player is because we can actually use them. We are one of the few people that's not driven insane by holding them. That's why we're so powerful. That's why we can kill gods. That's why we can fight monsters, is because we use those things. So the fact that you could ever do more damage by bonking something with a stick is not only awful.
Stick!
And just fucking club. Like, it's so backwards to their own rationale. Ah! That's been in since fucking 1.0 or 0.1 or whatever. It's still in. I still hate it. It's such an awful choice. I'm going to stop talking about this.
So this wasn't my song of the week. Wasn't chosen knowing that Eli was going to go on that rant. But the song of the week that I got via a YouTube short is called "Brain Dead" by People Are Ugly. It's very fun. It's stupid. I don't know why the hook hits so well. I think it's kind of like the Wild Robot of songs. It's not particularly good, but it's fun. It just hits me right. So
Sure.
if you're looking for some dumb, silly, goofy kind of old indie punk, I think it's a good hit.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's pretty sure I'd give it a listen. And also, I think I'll probably be doing it. There's going to be two changes moving forward. One, there is a Super Prose Bros Spotify playlist. It'll be linked in the description down below. Probably been doing it for like the last couple of weeks at this point that you're hearing this. But if you want to check out the songs we've listed, I have them in order. So you can give those a look-see. They are a bunch of bangers. I was listening to the playlist this week by accident. I was like, man, all these songs are awesome. What playlist? Oh. Man, we're good. Nailed it. Good job, buddy.
Turns out we're just giving a creme to the creme.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes good to listen to the good stuff. The other thing is that if not before this, by this episode, we will no longer be posting. I'll probably still have a Twitter account, but I won't be like particularly utilizing it. So if you want to keep, up on stuff, either follow us on, YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, or you can find us over on Bluesky at Super Prose Bros. And you can always email us at superprosebros@gmail.com. So to close out the episode, what are we quipping today, my guy?
A classic. Gotta love Mel Brooks. We're gonna quip off some Spaceballs.
All right, putting 2 minutes on the old marker, and 3, 2, 1, hit it.
All right, men, comb the desert.
You're looking at now, sir. Everything that happens now is happening now. What happened to then? We passed then. When? Just now. When will we be now? Soon.
Now you see that evil will always triumph because good is dumb.
I'm a Mog, half man, half dog. I'm my own best friend.
Oh my god, they've gone to plaid.
I'm your father's brother's nephew's cousin's former roommate.
What does that make us?
Nothing. At last we meet for the first time, for the last time.
I've lost the bleeps, I've lost the sweeps, and I've lost the creeps.
Hey, those are the guys that took our clothes. Yeah, and beat the shit out of us too.
Lock 1, lock 2, lock 3, lock Lamond.
You idiots! These are not them! You've captured their stunt doubles!
Listen, we're not just doing this for money. We're doing it for a shitload of money.
He's an asshole, sir. Major asshole. I'm surrounded by assholes. Keep firing, assholes!
God willing, we'll all meet again in Spaceballs 2. The search for more money.
Spaceballs the t-shirt, Spaceballs the coloring book, Spaceballs the lunchbox, Spaceballs the breakfast cereal, Spaceballs the flamethrower.
We ain't found shit.
No, sir, I didn't see you playing with your dolls again.
I said never to use this mirror.
I always have coffee when I watch Radar. You know that.
The radar, sir, it appears to be jammed.
May the Schwartz be with you.
It's a pretty big Schwartz.
Oh, that's our episode. Thank you for tuning in. If you enjoyed this, please feel free to
Like,
comment,
share,
and
but
subscribe.
don't forget, new episodes of Super Prose Bros come out the first and third Saturday of every month. Bye. Good Lord.
I don't know. I felt like messing around.